Hello and welcome to another video on Python basics. In this video, we'll understand what are lists in Python. Let's have a look at what all we'll be covering in this session. We'll learn how to create a list, how to access the elements of a list, how to modify the elements of a list, and how to traverse the list. We'll learn how to add elements to a list using the append, insert, and extend functions. We'll see how to remove elements from a list using the pop function, remove function, clear function, and the delete statement. Python lists are containers that are used to store a list of values of any type. Unlike other variables, Python lists are mutable. That is, you can change the elements of a list in place. Python will not create a fresh list when you make changes to an element of a list. List is a type of sequence like strings and tuples, but it differs from them in the way that lists are mutable, but strings and tuples are immutable. A list is a standard data type of Python that can store a sequence of values belonging to any type. Lists can be created using square brackets or using the list function. This command here creates a list with no members. It is an empty list. In this particular program, we see that the first list contains only integer values, while the second list contains only string values. The third list contains mixed type of values. The fourth list is an example of nesting. When we have a list within a list, it is called nesting, and the created list is called a nested list. A list can also be created using the list function by assigning a sequence to it. Individual elements of a list can be accessed through indexing. We use the index operator to access an element in a list. The index must be an integer. Nested list is accessed using the nested indexing. To access a particular element, we need to specify the index number of that element. Like in this program, we have accessed the element at the first and the fifth position. For accessing elements in a nested list, we use nested indexing. In this program, we have accessed elements from the list within the list. In Python, we also have the concept of negative indexing. Negative indexing means beginning from the end. In this program, we have accessed the last element of the list and the fourth last element of the list. Lists are mutable, that is modifiable, so we can change the elements of a list in place. In other words, the memory address of a list will not change even after you change its values. In this program, we have modified the value of the first element of the list. In the output, we see that the value has changed. In the original list, the first element was 1, while in the modified list, the first element is 10. Traversing just means to process every element in a list, usually from left end to right end. There are multiple ways to iterate over a list in Python. Using for loop, we can iterate without the range function and with the range function, using the while loop, using list comprehension, and using the enumerate function. List comprehension basically offers the shortest syntax when you want to create a new list based on the values of an existing list. The enumerate method adds counter to an iterable and returns it. It takes two values, an iterable and start. Iterable is an object that supports iteration, and start basically defines from where to start counting. If start is omitted, it is by default taken as 0. Elements can be added to the list by using the built-in append function. The only one element at a time can be added to the list by using the append method. For addition of multiple elements with the append method, loops are used. Tuples can also be added to the list with the use of append method because tuples are immutable. Other lists can be added to the existing list with the use of append method. In this program, we have added a single element to the list using the append function. Here we have added multiple items to the list using the append function. As we can see in the output, multiple elements have been added to the end of the list. For addition of element at desired position, insert method is used. Unlike append, which takes only one argument, insert method requires two arguments, position and value. In this program, we have added elements at a specified position using the insert method. As we can see, 12 has been inserted at index 3 and P has been inserted at index 0. Other than append and insert, there is one more method for addition of elements, which is extend. This method is used to add multiple elements at the same time at the end of the list. In this program, we have added multiple elements to the end of the list using the extend method. Pop function can also be used to remove and return an element from the list, but by default, it removes only the last element of the list. To remove elements from a specific position on the list, index of the element is passed as an argument to the pop method. In this program, we are removing elements from the list using the pop method. As we can see in the output, the last element of the list has been removed. We can also remove element at a specific location from the list using the pop method. In the output, the element from the second index has been removed. Elements can be removed from the list by using the built-in remove function, but an error arises if the element doesn't exist in the list. The remove method only removes one element at a time. To remove range of elements, an iterator is used. The remove method removes the specified element. Remove method in the list will only remove the first occurrence of the searched element. In this program, the specified items have been removed from the list. As we can see in the output, 1 and A have been removed from the list. We can also remove multiple items from the list using the iterator method. The clear method removes all items from the list. It doesn't take any parameters. The clear method only empties the given list and it doesn't return any value. When we use the clear function with the list, it empties the list as we can see in the output. The delete statement can be used to remove an individual item or to remove all the items identified by a slice. In this program, by using the delete statement, we have removed an item from the specified position. We can also remove a sublist by slicing. The joining of lists in Python is done by the concatenation operator. The operator, when used with list, requires both operands must be of the list type. We cannot add a number or any other value to a list. In this program, we have joined two lists, list 1 and list 2, using the concatenation operator and assigned it to list 3. The final output shows a list with the elements of both of the lists. In Python list, there are multiple ways to print the whole list with all the elements, but to print a specific range of elements from the list, we use the slice operation. Slice operation is performed on the list with the use of a colon. In this program, we have used colon, the slice operator, to slice the list. The output shows the sliced list from index 2 to index 5. The element at index 5 is not included in the sliced list. To repeat or replicate a list, we use the star operator. It repeats or replicates the list specified number of times. We can only use an integer with the star operator. Here we have repeated the list 1 3 times. The output shows the final list as the repetition of the original list. Copy of a list can be made by using the copy function or by assigning a list to another identifier. In this program, we have created a copy of list 1 using the copy function. List 2 is the copy we have created. Another way it can be done is by directly assigning the list to an identifier. Here we have directly assigned list 1 to list 2 to create a copy of the list 1. Let us now look at the list functions and methods in Python. The len function returns the length of its argument list. The index function returns a list created from the passed arguments, which should be of a sequence type. If no argument is passed, it will create an empty list. The count function returns the count of the items that we have passed as an argument. If the given item is not in the list, it returns 0. The reverse function reverses the items of the list. The sort function sorts the item of the list by default in an increasing order. Sorted function takes the names of the list as an argument and returns a new sorted list with the sorted elements in it. The min, max and sum function takes the list of sequence and returns the minimum, maximum and sum of the elements in the respective order.